Hi, and welcome to the LesParis.com podcast. I'm Les. This podcast is a short daily monologue that you can listen to. Use it to practice listening to English. Use it to stimulate ideas. Use it for BGM.
Well, hello there. Thank you for joining me here now on the Les Paris podcast. Today's episode 204 is about Rondavels. More about that later. Yesterday in episode 203, you could listen about aloe vera. But today, episode 204 is about Rondavels, which are the little mud huts in Africa. Rondavels. Do you know what those are? I sure do. About 30 years ago, I went to Africa to live. I lived in Africa for a few years. And while I was there, I saw lots of rondavels. Those are the houses that many African people live in. They're typically made of mud or stone or wattle. Okay. Now, they're actually pretty livable once you go inside them. But from the outside, they don't look like much. Maybe you could say they look cute. They are the little mud huts that people make to live in. The materials are plentiful. You can get the material off the ground. So you don't need to spend a lot of money constructing your house. On the other hand, the doors, well, you could have a really low quality door or a high quality door. You can have a big rondavel or a small one. Most of them were small. One of the problems with the rondavels is there's no electricity, but that seems to be a problem in many parts of Africa. Another problem is if you heat it or if you want to do some cooking, you're probably going to be using a fire. If you have a gas stove, you're not much better off because the exhaust fumes, the smoke, goes right into the house. If you open up a hole in the roof, well, that's a hole where the water can come in. So usually people don't open a hole and the smoke just stays inside the hut and it piles up in there. Not very healthy. On the other hand, once the fire goes down to a low cool burning level, it doesn't give off much smoke and it gives off lots of heat. So now it's not as smoky in there. But you still got the smoke from starting the fire in the first place. I suppose you could make the fires outside and then bring the coals inside for cooking. That might be the wisest thing to do, but it's certainly a pain in the neck. Rondavels are all over Africa, and they're not going to go away quickly. So if you thought that the little mud hut in Africa is a thing of the past, well, it isn't. It's still there. It's alive and popular. There, now we've come to the end of episode 204 on the Les Paris podcast. Today's episode was about rondavels. Increase your vocabulary and your listening power by listening again tomorrow in episode 205, which is about the Farmer's Almanac.